Okay. Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Codesake. This is Saurav here, and today we are again coming up with the weekly Java live session. So as we have done in the earlier session last Saturday, we had started conditional statements, and today we will be continuing with this. But before starting this session, I just want to request all of you to please subscribe to our channel if you have not subscribed yet, and at the same time, if you are new to the channel, also hit the bell icon, because that will help you to receive notifications regarding our further updates. Okay, and thank you so much for being with us, supporting us a lot, and this really motivates us a lot to create more content like this for you. Okay, so without any more ado, let's get started. As I said, today's topic or the content that we are going to cover up today is conditional statements. Okay, in the last Saturday's session we have already covered two of the conditional statements. Let me just give you a brief recap about those. Okay, so in conditional statements, the first one was the simple if statement. Okay, and here I just told you that it has only one condition, right? Then in the second one we have the if else statement. This has exactly two conditions. Guys, some of you might be knowing all this, but why we are covering this is because, as I told you, we have to start everything from scratch. So we cannot directly go on to the advanced concepts like DSA and collections, etc. So what I am doing, I am just going on with the basics. When we learn the basics, when we are good to go with the basics, then we can go on to the advanced concepts. Okay. So as I said, the second one, the if else statement, it has exactly two conditions. Okay, and this two we have already covered in our last session. Fine. So in today's session we will be going on with the third one and following up with the others. Fine. So the third one, okay, and guys, if you have not watched the video or the session where we had the other two, the link will be given in the description and also in the I button. Okay, and you can go ahead and watch those. Then it will be very easy for you to understand the rest of the categories of the conditional statements. Okay, so the third one here is the if else ladder statement. Here you can see we are actually gaining more and more conditions here. See, the first one had only one condition. If it is true, then only it goes inside the block, and if the second one, either if it is true or false, the true part will be executed or the false part will be executed. Okay, in the third one, if you have more than two conditions, then we use the if else if ladder. Okay, so you can also say that it has more than two conditions. Fine, let us take an example. Okay, the third one, the if else if and else ladder statement has more than two conditions. Say suppose I have a particular number. Okay, I have a number which is an integer n. Okay, this we have taken from the user. We can do that. Okay, and guys, I will show you how to take user input also. So that will be an interactive program. Interactive program it is called, because here we can actually take input from the user. That will show you, but right now I will just take a static value like say n equal to 10, n equal to 20, whatever, and then this integer can be of three different types. I can say it is positive, I can say it is negative, or it is 0. It's a very simple concept, but if you think about the number line, it can be something like this. This is your 0, and here to the right hand side we have the positive values, to the left hand side we have the negative values, right? So here 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. Here it will be minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and so on, right? So a number given n, an integer, can be either positive, which is on the right hand side of the 0, and a number given n can be negative, which is on the left hand side of the 0, or it can be 0, correct? So here are actually more than two conditions, either it can be positive, it can be negative, or it can be 0, right? So for this kind of cases we can use a if else ladder statement. Okay, understood? So the syntax will be something like this. Let us talk about the syntax, then we will go and write the code. Okay. Ignore the color changes, guys, it's just because of some bug in the smart board, don't have to worry about that, just focus on the topics that I am teaching. Okay. So the syntax will be, say, if condition, here I can say statement 1, just for example, else if condition, here I can say statement 2. See, if this is not true, then obviously the last part will be true, right? Here I can say else, here we don't need to write any condition, as you already know. Here I can say statement 3, fine. So if this is true, then it will go inside and execute this block. If this is not true, it will check this condition. If this is true, it will go and execute this block. And if this is also not true, then it will come to the else part and it will execute the statement number 3. Okay, that is how we write the syntax of the if else ladder statement. Okay, and guys, in my example I have taken a value n, which is either say a number called 3. So this is positive, right? Correct? Excuse me. And otherwise it can also be say minus 2, which is negative, or else it can be 0, which is actually the 0 in the number line. Correct? So in that case we can say that here are exactly 3 conditions, but in some cases there can be some other extra conditions also, right? So you can keep on checking the else if block like this. You can keep on adding multiple else if blocks. That's why it is called the if else ladder. Okay, more than 2 conditions, any kind of conditions, you can use the if else ladder statement. And there is one more statement that is called the switch statement, where we can have multiple choices also. That is also one kind of conditional statement. We will talk about that later, but right now let us focus on what we are actually doing right now. Fine. So as I said, this is the syntax of the if else ladder. And also let me just tell you, we can have if, else if, else if, else if, and finally you can have the else. So there can be lots of else if statements in between. Okay, it depends on the number of conditions you want to play around with. Fine. So this can be a syntax of that same thing. Fine. So either we can have 3 conditions, we can have more than 3 conditions, then also we can go along and use this syntax, the if else ladder statement. Now let's do one thing, let's go to our IDE, IntelliJ IDEA, and try to understand the same thing using a program. Fine, I will take the same example, the number taken from the user, or I will take a normal number, directly static value only, and then I will try to write this conditional statement, the if else ladder statement. Okay, fine, let's do it. Okay, yeah, guys, I have already written the name of the class. So let's take a proper example. I hope the screen is visible to you. Okay, guys, if you have any doubts regarding whatever we are learning, please make sure you comment your doubts in the comment section. Okay, I will be very happy to clarify all those doubts, and I will try to go through all the messages. I literally do go through all the messages, and if I find time, I will just get the solution for every doubt that you have. Okay, don't have to worry about it. Any silly doubt, don't hesitate to ask. Thank you. So let's get going. So I'll take the main function, and here say I'm taking int n is equal to 2. Okay, and then I will say if our n value is greater than 0, I can say s out n plus, I am concatenating so that I can get something like this. 2 is positive, something like this is a positive integer. Fine. Else if I will write n is less than 0, I can copy the same thing, paste it here. To save a little bit of time, I will say negative integer. Make sense? And in the else block, I will simply say s out. I don't have to say 0 is 0 or something like that. I can simply say the number given is 0. Okay. So in this case, you can see that this is greater than 0. The output should be 2 is a positive integer. Correct? Let's run this and check. See guys, 2 is a positive integer. Hope you understood this, right? Very simple, not so difficult to understand and not rocket science. So if you dedicate your heart, you can learn anything. This is a very simple concept, okay guys, and I hope many of you already know this concepts, but let us try to go from the scratch and try to learn all of this, so that when you go to the advanced concepts, the silly doubts that we come up when we go through the basic concepts are not coming again and again, okay, because if we don't know our basics, it will be difficult to understand the advanced concept. Fine. So if this condition is true, it is going inside this. If it is not true, it should go inside this. If this is also not true, then it will go to the else block. Fine. So let me just show you something here. Say I am writing -2. Now see, this is not true. The second part will be true. So it should be -2 is a negative integer. See, -2 is a negative integer. Got it? Makes sense? And say suppose I am taking this as 0. So obviously this is not true, this is not true. It should give me the number given is 0. Let's see the output now. See, the number given is 0. Okay. Now I hope you understood the branching. Got it? So here, as I said, the if else ladder statement says that if the if condition is true, it will go inside and execute this block. Otherwise, if the else if condition is true, it will go to this block and execute this. Otherwise, if both these conditions are not true, then it will finally go to the else block, where we have nothing written and it has to mandatorily execute this part, okay, because if this and this are not true, obviously the compiler will create or think of this as true and will execute this. And here you have to be very sure of the logic that you are writing, okay. Sometimes I have seen people writing a conditional statement with the else block. It is not correct and it is not a good practice, and it is not allowed by the compiler also. So make sure you are very good with the syntax and you understand what is being written there, okay. So I hope this is a very simple example to explain you about the if else ladder statement. Now I think we can go on to the next statement in the conditional statements, okay, which is the nested if else statement. Fine. So let's do one thing. I will go back to my note and try to explain you the nested if else statement. Guys, any silly doubt, any simple doubt, please don't hesitate to ask, okay, because even we had very silly doubts while we were studying. So it doesn't matter, I can understand the doubts that can arise in your mind, so it's okay, no problem at all. So now let's go to the next conditional statement, which is our nested if else statement. So this is also known as branching of conditional statements. Or you can say condition inside condition. Okay, nesting, a condition inside a condition, that is called a nested if-else statement. Okay, if you talk about the syntax, it can be something like this. Say I have a if condition. Okay, this condition, and here, okay, let's do one thing. Before even talking about the syntax, let us take an example so that you can actually analyze what I am talking about. So let's take an example. I have a number n is equal to 4, okay, and you have certain criteria. Okay, the first criteria that they have given is the number even or odd? Okay, so that we have to check. And the second criteria they have given is, if it is even, is it divisible by 4? The third criteria given, if it is odd, is it divisible by 3? Something like this. So you can see, first we have to check whether it is even or odd. Then based on that, we have to go inside that block and we have to check whether it is divisible by 4. If yes, then we have to print it is divisible, otherwise not divisible. So you can see, there is one if, inside that we have one more if, and there will be one else block also, because first I have to check even or odd, then I have to check divisible by 4. If it is yes, then print it, otherwise not print it, right? So I can write like this: if condition, inside that, so suppose it is an even number, just think of this as an even number, then I will again check if one more condition, fine. Say now it is divisible by 4, okay, mod 4 equal 0, just for example. Here what I will do, I will just say S out, even and divisible by 4, correct? Otherwise, else I will simply print S out, even and not divisible by 4. Got it? So first it has to be even. Suppose that number is 6. Here you can see 6 is an even number. It goes inside this, and here you can see again the condition is it divisible by 4? No. Then it will skip this if block inside that. It will go to the else block, and here it will print it is even and not divisible by 4. Okay. Similarly, what will happen? The first condition that we took is it is an even number, right? Suppose what if it is not an even number? Then we have to go to this part. This if block will be completely skipped because it is not an even number. Then it has to come to the else block, correct? Here what will it do? Now suppose it is 7. 7 is an odd number, correct? It is an odd number. Now we have to check whether it is divisible by 3 or not, correct? So in the else block there is no condition. First of all, it will go inside, and here I will have an if block. So here I will check, is it divisible by 3? If it is yes, I will print this, print yes. Otherwise, if it is not divisible by 3, then I will go to the else part, and here again I have to print, right, not divisible. Got it? Odd and divisible by 3, odd and not divisible by 3, that is my case. So you can see, first we have a, let me take a different color, okay. So first we have a if block. This is the if block. Here, if this is true, then it will come inside this block. Here, it will verify this again inside this branching conditions. After that, if this is not true, this will be skipped, and then it will come to the else block. Here again it will do those conditional checks, and then again it will print the output. So you can see, even, odd, if even, divisible by 4, not divisible by 4, odd, divisible by 3, not divisible by 3. So here you can see even, then we have a branching, odd, then we have a branching. So condition inside condition, that's why it is called a nested if else statement. Okay, this is very good for, like, say, giving a result or something. Suppose whenever your results are out, this kind of conditional statements are used in that. Okay, and suppose if the customer has paid some money, and based on that you have to calculate some discount, so between some range you have to calculate the discount. In that kind of cases also you can use the nested if else statement. Okay, so we will be taking up this example and going to our editor and trying to solve this, okay, with a very simple example. Fine. Okay, so it is the if else that we just discussed. Let's do one thing. Let's write down nested if else and try to write down the code for this. Okay, as I said, these are our conditions. Okay, I will first write it out. Even, I'll press a tab, and here it will be something like this. Okay, even and divisible by 4, otherwise it is even and not divisible by 4. Fine. So this is the even part done. Now I will come to the odd part. So odd, then I will say odd and divisible by 3. Obviously the other one will be odd and not divisible by 3. Got it? So you can see here it is automatically a chain, right? See, even, if it is even, is it divisible by 4? If it is even, if it is not divisible by 4, again, if this part is not true, then it will go to the else part. Odd and divisible by 3, and again odd and not divisible by 3. Just a simple example. Okay, now we will try to write it down in the code. Fine. So I am taking int n is equal to, say, 14, just for example. I will say if n is modulus of 2 equal 0, that's how we check. Okay, I have not taken the main function. First of all, let me take it. Fine. So paste it here. My bad. So if this is true, then what we can do? We can again check. Now we are checking an even number. Now we will check whether it is divisible by 4 or not, right? I will say if number modulus of 4 equal 0, then what I will write? I will say even and divisible by 4. In the else part, I will just copy this entire statement, paste it. I will say even and not divisible by 4. So see here, guys, the first part is done. I am checking whether it is an even number. If yes, then I am checking whether divisible by 4, then printing this, otherwise printing the else part. Okay, but suppose if the number is not even, we have to go to the else part. Okay, so I will just write like this. So this is the if part. You can see it is highlighted by the yellow color braces. I will just say else. So what does it mean? If it is not an even number, it has to be an odd number. Then we will check the other condition. Divisible by 3, not divisible by 3. Okay, so I will say if number modulus of 3 equal 0. So I'll copy this entire thing, or let me just copy. It's already copied, right? So I'll say odd and divisible by 3. Let me copy this part again. In the else part, I will just print this and I will say odd and not divisible by 3. Fine. So this is the entire code. Let me just reduce the size a bit so that you can view the entire code in one go. Okay. So main function, the number is 14. So here you can see it is an even number, but 14 is not divisible by 4, right? So it should be even and not divisible by 4. Let's run this and check. See, even and not divisible by 4. Let me take a even number which is divisible by 4. 14, let me say 12. So 4 3s are 12. It should be even and divisible by 4. Got it? So for the other part, let's take a number called 9 which is odd and divisible by 3. So now you can see it is odd and divisible by 3. Let's take another odd number, say 11, which is an odd number but not divisible by 3. In this case, you can see it will give you the output as odd and not divisible by 3. Okay. So this is actually how the nested if else statements work. You can just memorize it like this: condition inside condition. We already have a condition. Inside that, we already have this condition here. See, we already have this condition here. Inside that, you can see there is a separation. This is called indentation. I have already told you, right? Inside this condition, if this condition is true, then it will go inside, it will check this and execute this, otherwise it will execute the else part. And if the main condition is not true, then obviously it is false, then it will go to the else part and it will do likewise the same thing. Okay. So this is a simple example to explain you about the nested if else conditions. Okay. So I hope you have understood this, guys. I think too much of information in one session is not good. So I think we can wind up today with this. If you have any doubts regarding the content that we are bringing, please post your comments in the comment section. And if you really like the content that you are bringing, then please motivate us by subscribing to our channel and also hit the bell icon, because that will help you to get notified about the latest updates. Okay. And with this, I just want to thank you all for being with me in the session. And again, I think in the evening, Ashank sir will come on with the C++ live sessions. So stay tuned for that as well. And thank you for watching. So with this, I just want to wind up the session. Thank you. And this is Saurabh signing off. Till the next time, bye bye and happy learning. Thank you. Milan? Milan? Thank you guys. Bye bye.